Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a phenomenal day. Happy Tuesday to you. We're taking a look here again at SUI, see what's going on. We swept a tiny bit of this local liquidation we discussed yesterday being a potential reality. Good news is, took some nice profits to the upside there after bouncing off that key level support about like 320. We got in for a long position at 320, what, 325? 325, got out at 340. Okay, so we got a good 33% profit from that. Obviously secured some previous profit from a Litecoin trade too. That coin was pumping. So those coins currently are looking pretty good. However, you got to recognize we're seeing a bit of a pullback here now. This is just kind of very normal, very standard. Rejecting off that resistance range is perfectly sensible. That also went concurrent with Bitcoin pulling back too, right? So hadn't Bitcoin done what it's doing now, SUI would be probably even higher. So good news is you can average into your position a little bit better here. We do have a somewhat of a resistance slash support at 335. So that's something to consider. But either way you look at it, congrats to our committee for some nice profits there. Didn't really want to take a lot of longs yesterday because it just felt like a fake out. This is one of the few coins that looked like it was really ready to rock and roll. So we'll take a look and see what's going on here. First of all, starting with the back-end data, kind of going from there. And work our way down from the top to the bottom as per usual. And again, future reference folks, I get the question a lot. How many time frames do I use? How many indicators do I use? It's subjective, but the truth is less is more in a lot of ways. So I usually only prioritize 2 or 3 indicators per time frame, and I generally only use three time frames. Now for like scalping and day trading and stuff, I've got a day trading bot here that runs everything for us, and it's been a pretty profitable scenario here. Congrats for our community too. In the last week, ever since we adjusted the strategy, it's been averaging a pretty decent amount of profit here over a short amount of time. So if that continues, and we find out this to be successful, I'll let everyone know to increase their balances and start making some good passive income. For right now, let's look at SUI and kind of see what's going on. Back in liquidation data, again, I've talked about this previously, 355. Partial sweep there, upwards of about $4 to 380. So again, we got that heavy concentration, about 380 there. We look at the macro, it gets even heavier the further you go up. Okay, so again, we have more liquidation on the upside, more likely to sweep that level, but also we got to recognize that SUI has been pulling back pretty hard when Bitcoin does too, and we may see a bit more of a correction because I feel like we're finally going to hit that lower 94K range for Bitcoin. Just kind of has that that feeling, just the way the price action is moving. We got a pretty unfortunate and terrible situation. And I don't know if you can see the title for my Bitcoin video, but Bitcoin sucks. Just calling it how it is. Don't hate me for that. But either way you look at it here, 94,500 is that little shelf there of liquidation. It's pretty massive. So a wick down to 94K seems sensible, but once more, you never truly know. But we're below a lot of open interest for Bitcoin. It's just not looking great. So anyways, check that out. I make a video every single day on Bitcoin. If you're not familiar with that, obviously make sure you familiarize yourself with that. Now, from a liquidation delta standpoint, we got tons of longs in the market here for SUI. So more support, if you will. Good stuff there. Also, same thing here with open interest. We can see a big chunk of interest below the price action. In other words, people aren't really underwater on their trades anymore. And this is good. Really just reaffirms that we have good support in the $3.20 to $3.05 range. So good stuff there. But generally speaking, that's favorable. Now, does that mean you just take a long in the blind 100x leverage trade? No, definitely not. You know, I'm never going to recommend that. No more than 5x leverage trades per altcoin, and 10x for Bitcoin. That's basically the rule that I have for my community. So again, I got a few hundred traders trading underneath me, so it's not just a fiduciary requirement, to be responsible, but it's also just something you should do, because in the last 20 years of trading every single type of market, I can tell you that crypto, less is more. Okay, try not to listen to those other idiots that just tell you to take longs every time they have some kind of hidden divergence. It's garbage. Anyways, I'm not perfect either, folks. Please understand that, but I will always have your best interest in mind, and it's going to be consistent there. So daily time frame, moving averages, it's terrible. Okay, the easy way to understand it, if you saw, and this is again just something I have for my community, my trade alert for SUI. Right, I'm just going to pull this up as an example so you can understand that when you take trades, you want to have invalidation levels, but for the most part, there's a lot of confirming factors on low to mid time frames. The macro was terrible though, okay? So you got to recognize you can still take longs into a macro type of scenario that isn't perfect. So there's nothing here that's saying that you should take a long position. There's no hidden anything. Nothing should be hidden, first of all, but if there is something, it's quite clearly not there, and you just need to recognize that. Keep in mind, we do got a MACD convergence working on shifting gears here, and if we were to close, just say in the 350, 360 or higher range, break our local high here, that little range, that point of control, then we'll be in a better shot, or a better place to have a better shot at taking longs with confidence. Between now and then, we can expect this type of capitulation. We can expect these kind of results when Bitcoin is just literally nosediving or thumbs downing itself, right? So that's kind of where we're at. Anyways, the whole point, macro timeframes are going to be pretty terrible right now for most coins, okay? It basically just means, though, that you have to respect the trend, and you got to recognize that taking long positions is slightly more risky than taking shorts. That's simple, okay? So again, always understand the trend before you get in. Just like, traffic, if you're going to be driving, maybe take, do a mirror signal head check before you lane change. Don't just turn lanes without looking, right? Similar concept. You're gonna be successful for the most part, but there's gonna be a time where you run right into somebody, and it's just because of negligence, right? Don't be negligent on the charts. All that being said, the 4-hour time frame estimates we're over the important moving averages here, right? So a lot of confluence at 320, 330. That's good. Awesome little range there. We can see that reaffirming itself here with open interest, and of course with the lack of liquidation here locally. Okay. Again, a lot of positive stuff. Doesn't mean it can't still come down. It just implies we got support coming up if the price continues lower. All right, and it's holding up pretty well here. Bitcoin's now at 95.6, so we can see that pullback is looking pretty standard, right? Still up on the day for the most part, but again, it was pretty green earlier today. All right, so what I'm going to discuss here on the 4-hour time frame is the fact that we're still on the right side of most of the tracks. We are, however, seeing a second stochastic swing to the downside. This reinforces that we were overextended into a resistance range, which that 355 saw that, right? We saw that here at that lower liquidation range. So rejecting out that level makes sense. Therefore, further continuation of the downside would also be sensible. Keep in mind, this coin, exactly the reason why I don't want to short it, is because it responds and recovers quite quickly in most cases. So if Bitcoin does find its bottom, we'll probably see another leg up from this coin. So please try not to get too crazy with shorts in this coin. It is still viable. You can still short, but it doesn't make a ton of sense right now because there's too many confirming factors letting us know this coin is very strong compared to the rest of the market. In fact, look at this. SUI, Cardano, those are the only two coins minus this crazy AI16Z coin. For the most part, the two strongest coins in the market right now, okay? So I'm just highlighting that so you understand when coins are this strong, even though it's logical to think that the price will drop harder because it has more profit to be taken, it's also almost the inverse where it's more likely to sustain itself because it's so profitable, right? So again, be careful trying to trade into an overextension because some folks will just say, oh, okay, we're overextended, I'm going to short. And they just get consistently destroyed. It doesn't make any sense. There's nothing here confirming that we're going to drop astronomically. Now keep in mind, there's going to be a point where this coin just does that, especially if we hit a certain critical point for Bitcoin. But we're not quite there yet, and it's responding moderately well to this pullback. So just know that. Anyways, I wouldn't recommend shorting this coin at this point. I'm sure you guys probably get tired of me saying that. Do I recommend a long at this exact level? Probably not either. But again, this is somewhat of a support range. We could see a decent pivot. It's the local high. A lot of times the local highs will work as new lows. So there's that. But for the most part, you're better off. You're going to find more success taking along with this coin. But I don't necessarily recommend a 10 to 20x leverage trade with this coin at this point. I generally don't recommend that either. But either way, you keep it. Low leverage is probably the most important thing. Either way, I'll post a playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord as per usual. You already know it looks a little something like this. I'll just kind of give you a summary of what's going on there. It'll already be available for you if you're watching this video. And the only thing I ask in return is just hit the like button, maybe like the comments, whatever it is. Just get in the habit of doing that for me, just so we can kind of get this in front of more people. It's very tragic, at least this is the conversation from my community, that my videos don't get more views. And I would agree with that. It's unfortunate, but a lot of it comes from you. If you're not liking the videos, they're not going to be successful. So that's just how YouTube is, unfortunately. All right, folks. Hope you have a good rest of your day. We look forward to seeing the next one. Take care.